Wow, what happened? Let's talk. Hey guys, I know it's been a little while since we've talked. A lot's kind of gone on. I want to kind of explain my absence, of course, and kind of the toll that I'm not even a big YouTuber. I don't make any monetary value off of this because I obviously don't meet the requirements for it. Um, but as far as YouTube subscribers, so on and so forth. Basically, I do want to kind of explain myself though a little bit and kind of explain what my plans are moving forward. So what kind of happened with me is I've been working a couple different jobs currently. I was trying to keep up with that and also keep up with updating people consistently on the market. One of my jobs is very demanding as far as time and throughout the day and so on and so forth. It does require some market watch and stuff like that. My other job is demanding, mentally and stuff like that. So it's kind of a little bit draining sometimes. And doing that with content, I think is kind of the other push too. The space in general, when it comes to assets, can be at times very misleading and very toxic, I think, in some ways. And I like to use that word lightly. I don't want to address anybody negatively on their opinion or positions, but basically when you tell people things are happening, as you can see right now, what's happening with the market, a lot of people don't like to hear anything that's not pro, anything that's not positive, right? Anything that's not up. But I think a lot of people misconstrue market direction and positioning with positive up, negative down, right? The mentality should be positive down, negative up, right? Because what you should be doing, in my own personal opinion, is taking money from the market as it's climbing, right? And then you should be dialing money into the market as it's dropping. And I know that sounds very simple, I guess in a simplistic way, but when you're looking at charts, you want to just keep adding to your position as your position's going up. What that does to you is that makes you a liquidity provider, not a liquidity taker, right? So you don't want to be doing those type of things. Those are bad behaviors that we want to curb, right? When you tell people these things, a lot of the time they don't want to hear it because they're like, well, there's no way it can come back. There's no way it can drop that much. There's no way this can happen, that can happen, and so on and so forth. And there was obviously a lot more at play to hand, but it doesn't mean, I guess, in a sense, because I think a lot of people like to relate this stuff to, especially with crypto, right? I believe myself that crypto does move in cycles. I don't care what the economics are. I just believe the economics lined up just right with the current cycle. And I do believe we'll have another bull market in cycle, in rotation, regardless of where the economy is. These are just things that I know to have happened, and I know to, pretty much will continue to happen. I know a lot of people aren't accepting of this because it's always this time is different. And, we can always believe this time is different, but I can tell you by human nature, and if you take history classes and stuff like that, you'll pretty much understand a lot of the time it takes decades, hundreds of years to actually make evolution and change, right? Bitcoin has only been around for 1 decade in total, right? So if we think about it in that aspect, it's a baby. It hasn't really matured yet. It needs mature time. And you can say, well, maturity time, it gets faster and faster. It doesn't really get faster and faster. The reason it feels faster is because of consistent inflation, right? So I want you to understand that consistent inflation basically works around more or less the economy is going to be ever growing. GDP is going to be ever growing. Even on downturns, guys, like right now, GDP growth is not dictated on how much money is circulating in the economy. It's dictated on how much people are spending, right? So when we think about these things, we have to think about them in that aspect. We can't think about them like, oh, well, GDP growth is down. That means money is going. People aren't taking barrels of money and burning 1.4% in their backyard. They're just not spending as much. And these type of decelerations in growth and these type of decelerations in spending, they happen. They happen every cycle. And a lot of the time they happen around when? Midterms and election years, guys. This is where big money usually takes its money from the market, right? And it will sit on it to see who they think is going to win. Why? Because we can go one party or the other. I'm not going to name parties because I don't want people to make this political. It's not about politics. But one party is EV, electric vehicles, Green New Deal, all that stuff like that. The other party is, basically independence. So it's basically our independence as far as being able to create fuel, be able to create electricity, so on and so forth, but our own independence as far as that goes. So when we think about these things as a whole, that dictates big investors' investments, right? Because you don't want to invest in EVs, electric vehicles, which is what EVs are, right? If the other party, who's basically like, we don't care about EVs, is in control, and vice versa. You don't want to be investing in gas, right? Gas, if the EV party is in control. So these are things that kind of take money from the market and they sit on it, right? And then they wait. On top of that, what else are we seeing? Well, we're seeing the Fed start to step in and be like, hey, we're moving a little too fast. We need to slow things down. So with all this said, I do want to kind of stay on topic, but I wanted to kind of explain my position and why I'm giving you guys this knowledge. It's not me just talking like, hey, the chart's going this way, the chart's going that way. I'm trying to give you guys educational advice, right? Not financial advice, but more or less trying to educate you. You need to understand how the market moves and how the market works. And a lot of people don't put A to Z together when they're explaining things. They say, oh, well, guess what? Jobs are down. Oh, guess what? GDP's down. We need to explain why these things affect the economy. And moving forward, I'm going to try and make videos that are more productive towards that, right? Because why? Because crypto's not all that matters, right? We also have housing market. We have raw metals, right? We have bonds. We have many other things in the world that matter. And we have to look at other countries' growth potential too. That's a big thing, guys, because if other countries are slowing down dramatically, even though the US may be strong, that could still affect our economy if they're not recovering as fast as we are. Because why? Because the US dollar is the world currency in a sense, and we could say, yes, we're going to move towards BTC as the world currency or whichever, that's fine. But we have to understand right now, as we speak, everything is backed by US dollars, right? So even if our economy is strong, every other economy around us is going to take longer to recover because we are the strongest currency, which means we recover first and everybody else around us recovers after. That then pushes growth out, right? So again, we'll talk about this moving forward. I hope this conversation was interesting for a lot of you. I did want to explain myself as far as where I went and where I'm going and what my plans are moving forward. But I think this is the better bet. And we will talk about some charting. We'll go over some charting, some long-term holds and some different coins I'm eyeballing and the reasons I'm looking at them. Because I think a lot of people, they want to go off of fundamentals a lot. And I think fundamentals are very important. But I feel that not just fundamentals are important, but the chart speaks for itself, right? We need to look at many different metrics outside of fundamentals and look and see what's really going on with the money in each project and see if they're worth buying. And we're going to talk about stocks and we're going to talk about housing, which is really exciting. Until the next one, guys, I'll see you later.